Hi, we're here today to introduce our next 6 prospects for the 2015 recruiting class. Very excited about each of these young men. They bring a lot to the table, and they'll be great additions to the Rams for this coming season. John Lerach from here in Regina. Preston Paulson, a young man from the United States who we're very excited about. Ryan Schienbein, another young man from here in Regina who did a great job in our spring camp. Zaharia, a young man from down in Balgonia, a receiver who's also here in spring camp. Vieira, a quarterback who will give us some great depth along with Noah this year for the quarterback position, and Michael Weber, a running back who is from the Toronto area. To start with, the first one would be a local product, an offensive lineman from here in Regina by the name of John Lerach. John's an offensive guard, possibly could play center. The thing I really like about him, he was in camp with us and he really showed the ability to pick up what we wanted to do and to do it at a high level. I think he's a young man who's a little undersized height-wise, but has some real striking ability to him, and I'm anxious to see him more in camp because I think he has a chance to really be a pleasant surprise. The next young man we would like to talk about is our defensive back, Preston Paulson, from the Dallas, Texas area. Preston's a young man who possibly could play safety or even halfback for us. The one good thing about it is he's already here in Regina going through our off-season program and our summer running, and he's really a good athlete, has a lot of range about him, good size, long-limbed, and on film he's definitely a striker, so that's why we're not really sure where we'll play him at, either safety or defensive halfback. But he's a guy who I hope would get on the field very soon for us back there with his size and with his athletic ability. The next one would be Ryan Schienbein. Ryan's a receiver from here in town. Ryan was with us in spring camp, and I'll tell you one thing, Ryan really impressed me with his ability to catch the ball in traffic, with his ability to accelerate after the catch. I had a chance to see Ryan play basketball a couple times this year, and I knew he was a good athlete. Not the biggest guy in the world, but when you get him on the football field, he's a lot bigger in pads than he is out of pads. Had a chance also to see him in the Senior Bowl a couple weeks ago over at McZay Stadium, and Ryan was without a doubt one of the better players on that field that day. I think he led the South team in all-purpose yards and did just a great job. Tyler Vieira would be the next prospect that we're talking about, and Tyler is a quarterback from out of Winnipeg, played for the junior team in Winnipeg. Had a chance very early when I got the job here back in January to go to Winnipeg and visit Tyler in person. And the thing about really impressed me about him was his confidence. He's a young man who believes in his ability. He had a lot of success in junior football. He's a smart young man, throws the ball very well. I believe he's more of a thrower than a runner, but that's okay. He knows to use his feet when he's in trouble. The thing I like is that he sees the field very well, understands defenses, how to read defenses, and where to go with the football. His junior coach speaks very highly of him as far as his leadership abilities and everything. So he's a young guy who I think will come into camp and will push Noah a little bit and also give us some great added depth at that position. Zaharia is a young receiver who was with us in the spring camp. Probably line up as an on-the-line receiver. The Z position is where I'm thinking about. He's a young man who catches the ball very well, had an outstanding high school career, and I'm looking for big things from him. He's not, the biggest guy in the world, but he runs good routes and he has good speed. So he's a young man who will hopefully follow in the tradition of the great Ram receivers here. The last person I'd like to talk about today is Michael Weber. And when I talk about young men, I probably should just call Michael a man. He's 6'3", 255 pounds, big back, and I think that'll be a great compliment to our running backs already in the program. At that size, Michael runs track, and he's a really outstanding sprinter. Our track coaches are very high about him coming to the university, and they told me in the recruiting process that they felt he would be one of the top 2 CIS runners in the sprints if he was already here. So with that explosiveness, that acceleration, and that size, I can't wait to get him on the football field. Another area where Michael will help us is Michael's a very good kick returner. So I think you're going to see Michael Weber on the field a lot this coming season, hopefully, and hopefully you'll see big things from him.